Hello, beautiful peaches. Welcome to the Macros, Metabolism, and Motivation Beautiful Peach podcast. I'm your host, Caitlen, here to help you find your most unwavering love, beauty, and kindness for yourself inside and out. I will be teaching you nutrition and macro tracking secrets, reverse diet and metabolism health tips and tricks, and motivating the heck out of you so you will want to leap up and start conquering your goals right away. I am here to help bring you the light at the end of the tunnel so you can discover that self-love and truly become the most confident, beautiful peach possible. So grab a pen and a piece of paper, or if you're in the car or at the gym, go ahead and bump up your volume just a little so we can drown out those gym grunters next to you, and we can go ahead and dive right in. Don't forget to snag your completely free high-protein macro cookbook by simply doing a 5-star rate and review on this podcast. All you need to do is submit a 5-star rate and review, then send us your name and email through the link in the show notes so we know exactly where to send your cookbook. By submitting your 5-star rate review, this will also automatically enter you into the weekly podcast macro calculator giveaway. Every week, I give away a copy of my C. Schmidt macro calculator to one lovely winner who leaves an awesome 5-star rate and review. This winner is announced every week on my Instagram story as well as my newsletter email list. So leave that 5-star rate and review, and I'll see you in the episode. What is up, my beautiful peach? I am so excited for today's episode. This is one of the top questions that I get. I have been in this industry for, I believe, we're getting close to, I think, 2 decades, like 20 years. I'm give or take around like 15 years of education, so master's degree, actually starting with bachelor's degree in nutrition and dietetics at Clemson University, then on to my master's degree in exercise science and sports nutrition, where I wrote my master's thesis on the human metabolism and reverse dieting to restore our metabolism from diet burnout so we can sustainably lose that fat. I take a deep dive into what actually happens with our mindset when we are dieting. And that's why I have such a big passion. It's what I studied. It's what I personally have struggled with. Even after all of my education, I've been coaching for, I always get this timeline wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's around, I need to actually look up. I can look that up, but I believe it's around like 7 years, 8 years, somewhere around there. So we're getting close to like 15, 16, almost 20 years of being in this industry, which is so wild to think about because some people come to me and they're in this place where they're like, I've been dieting for 10 years. I've been dieting for a decade. And I was like, wow, I've been teaching clients how to get out of the dieting world for over a decade. And it's so wild to see how different people's paths and pasts, hard to say it that way, but different people's pasts can lead into each other's paths. And it makes me so excited. And it gets me so incredibly excited. But over all of this time, one of the top questions that I truly have received over and over and over again, truly over and over again, is how long will it take for you to do your reverse diet? And then also determining and helping you determine if it's worth it. And so I was like, you know what? It is about time for me to do this podcast episode. It is about time. So I am very, very excited. You are probably very much like me. I am a huge roadmap person. I would like to know how long it's going to take. I would like to know exactly what needs to be done. Like, I want to know every single step of the things that need to be done. And for me personally, I also am I like to have accountability. I like to have somebody there to support me, to give me the affirmation of like, yes, you are going in the right direction. The affirmation of, hey, oh my gosh, life has gone completely haywire. Please help me. Like, I need to learn how to navigate this situation. So that's just my personality. Other people just want the roadmap and they are good to go, right? There's different kinds of people in the world. And so without fail, I attract women who are very like-minded, who have been, in the same shoes that I have been in the past, and they're ready to step into this next chapter of their life. And it's so much fun because I think that it makes it very fun for me. And especially with podcasting, because you are very much probably a type A person. And you know what? I shouldn't say that because I work with a lot of clients who are not actually type A. But I personally am a type A, which works with a lot of different people because I'm very organized. I like to have the game plan. I like to give you the game plan. I'm very proactive. I'm always checking with my clients. and I just get excited. So we are getting kind of off track here. Today is a big podcast episode recording day for me. I have some very fun things happening in January, so stay tuned. I'm always posting about my life, personal life, and fun things going on my Instagram story. So if you want to hang out with me more and learn more about what's going on in my life, come hang out with me on Instagram and in my story. Fun things there. So I just chugged a protein shake and had a That's It bar. I'm pretty sure it's called that, literally called That's It. It's Caitlen and I had too much fun at Costco. We had way too much fun at Costco, and it's literally, I believe it was just strawberries and apples in it. So it was tasty. I've had a quick little snack and I'm ready to rock and roll. So let's go ahead and dive into this episode. I have some great things to cover. So into podcast episode number, I think we're on 106. I'm not gonna lie, I kind of forgot there, but the episode is, how long will it take to reverse diet? Is the time worth it? How long will a reverse diet take? Is the time worth it for you to reverse diet? Generally speaking, a reverse diet can take a few months, or it can take many months, and for some, it can take a year or longer. And I do want to give a disclaimer at the very beginning of this episode because I think this is really important to keep in mind as we are going through these steps. I'm going to be walking through 5 factors that you should be looking at when it comes to determining a timeline for a reverse diet. And these are going to be 5 factors that I actually go through with every single one of my clients. 5 factors that I personally went through when I was reverse dieting. 5 factors that I think every single human in the entire world who is going to do a reverse diet needs to pay attention to. But because it's so incredibly important to do this, I need to give this disclaimer up front. Every single human has a different metabolism, a different body, a different lifestyle. I cannot give you an exact pinpoint of exactly how your reverse diet, the exact timeline of your reverse diet, because truly every single human in the entire world is going to be different. And it's a very customized process based on the individual, which is why I love so very much supporting my clients in BPM, because it allows me to have that very hands-on approach, that very much, I get to see what's going on with your metabolism. I get to do all of these factors with you, and I get to support you through that. And also I want to help you kind of get that idea of a general, outline of how long your reverse diet is going to be. So I wanted to give that up front. Please keep in mind that, we can't exactly do an exact pinpoint, but we can get a general idea, okay? So when looking at the timeline, there's going to be 5 different factors that we want to look at, and the last couple are, if not the most important, but all of these factors kind of like grow on each other. So I want to start at the very basic one, okay? Now, number 1, we want to know the starting point of your reverse diet. This is going to be absolutely massive when it comes to your reverse diet success. And this is going to be actually knowing, number 1, how much you're eating and where your metabolism sits, and then also your specific macros that go along with that point, okay? When it comes to calculating our macros, we do not want to go to something just like MyFitnessPal and then type in our height, our weight, our age, and activity factor and have it shoot out numbers. These will be inaccurate, okay? Any macro calculator, this even goes for like my Macros Plus, that's what I personally like to use, MyFitnessPal, which is generalized online calculators that you see where you literally are typing your height, your weight, your age, and activity factor. Those are not going to help you figure out where your metabolism sits, your metabolism health, and your starting proper macros. So you really want to make sure that when it comes to calculating your macros, we are taking a huge deep dive into what is going on with your metabolism and then creating your macros from there. This is what is included in my C. Schmidt macro calculator, which is actually what my BPM clients, because this is a process that I go through with my BPM clients, and this is like the very basic thing that you need to do. This is included in the macro calculator, which you actually get in my mastermind welcome package. That's how absolutely incredibly important it is to make sure that you have those starting numbers. And what's interesting too, actually, I was chatting with somebody yesterday who grabbed the macro calculator and she's like, I've been tracking macros for so many years. I have so many different things that we were talking through. And she's like, I've worked with coaches. I've done this, I've done that. And she's like, I actually started using the macro calculator. And I was really surprised at, number 1, where her metabolism actually sat. Number 2, her macros. And she just was very surprised by it. And she hasn't had success yet with her fat loss, with her reverse diet. And so I think for a lot of people, they don't actually realize the importance of that number one piece of making sure that your macros are correct. And for a lot of people, for a lot of dieters, you actually probably are tracking your calories. You are tracking your macros. For others, you may not actually know how much you are eating. So for example, I think 21 Day Fix is where you just put things in a little containers and you can only eat within that container. A meal replacement shakes and bars like Optavia, I believe adds up to like 900 calories, which is very, very low. But so for a lot of people, you don't actually know how much you are eating. And so it's really important, whether you have tracked macros before, whether you have been tracking calories, et cetera, you really want to make sure you know exactly where your metabolism is sitting and allowing you to have that as your baseline. As long as it's correct, you will be going in the right direction. And so let me check my notes here to make sure I'm covering everything, because I added a little piece. Every time I go to record a podcast episode, I review my notes, and I actually added in a different piece here that I think is important to take a peek at. And I want to make sure I'm hitting it all. Yes. Okay. So this is actually really, I have an example, me and my examples. So I said, why is this helpful? And I have an example for this. So let's say we have a person who is eating, I have 1,200 calories, so 1,200 calories. And I have a person who is eating 1,800 calories, so 1,800 calories. These two people will have a different starting point to their reverse diet, and they will also have a different starting point to their actual macros. And if they were to, and just pretend for the sake of this example, they have the same height, weight, age, and activity factor. If they were going to go into something like MyFitnessPal or those automated online calculators that aren't actually taking into account you, your metabolism, you as an individual, it will actually shoot out the same exact macros, which will be pretty much messing with your overall long-term results, because it won't be an effective reverse diet because you don't have that baseline starting macro intake that is proper to your metabolism. So we really want to make sure we are getting that piece done and dusted and really, really zoning in there. The second thing that we need to do is to actually determine where your metabolism needs to be. So number one, where your metabolism currently sits, so your metabolic health and the proper macros from there, then where your metabolism needs to be. And what I actually personally do for my clients, so this is a little extra share for you because I think it's really, really important. When it comes to the overall end goal of your reverse diet, you want to know where that's going to be, but I also recommend adding a couple hundred calories more onto that. So let's say that the end goal for your reverse diet is 2,400 calories. I would actually recommend saying 2,600 to 2,700 calories and make that the end goal. The reason why we want to go a little bit higher here is most women who are wanting to do a reverse diet have very likely been in a restrictive place for a prolonged period of time. And the reason, what happens when we are in a prolonged deficit, and I actually have a full episode talking about the way that our calorie deficits can sabotage our success. And let me actually see, okay, I have episode 87 here, how a calorie deficit can sabotage your weight loss goals. So I talk in depth about how it actually is sabotaging your weight loss and all the things that are down-regulated. But to give you kind of the short here, when we are in a prolonged period where we are in a deficit, our libido is going to go down, our energy is going to go down. We will not be able to actually gain muscle. When we are below the point where our metabolism needs to be, it is quite literally impossible to gain muscle. So you might be somebody who is working your tail feather off at the gym and you are not seeing results. And this is because you are not eating enough food. And so when you're in a prolonged calorie deficit, for some women, they've been in this deficit for a few months, for a year. For some women, they have been in a deficit for decades, for many, many years at a time. And if you have been in a calorie deficit for, dieting for 10 years, you really want to make sure that you're getting your metabolism to where it needs to be and then a little bit higher. So you are up regulating, you are getting the energy levels really, really, really up there. You are getting your libido rocking and rolling. I love saying rocking and rolling. I don't know why. It just makes me so happy. Quick side story here. Kind of actually two side stories here. But, I can't even remember what it's called. At Universal Studios. Oh my goodness, I'm completely blanking on the restaurant. It's not the Rock and Roll. It's the, Hard Rock Cafe. Oh my goodness. So every time I see that, for some reason, the saying rock and roll comes into my mind. And my poor husband, I'm like saying rock and roll. Let's rock and roll. He's like, are you ready? Like, we're getting ready for the day. Are you ready? Yeah, let's rock and roll. And he's like, oh, Caitlen. Like, oh man, he loves me. I can't help being a little bit weird here. But essentially, we really want your body getting rocking and rolling and getting it up regulated, getting everything thriving and getting everything back to where it should be. And you want to stay in that place for a little while to make sure that your body is really feeling at its absolute best. So kind of coming back to figuring out where that number is, once we have that number, you can compare where your metabolism needs to be to where your metabolism sits, okay? And I have a note here in my notes. If you're eating, oh, this is a great one. This is so good. If you're eating, we're going to go back to the example of eating 1,200 calories, 1,800 calories, okay? So if you are eating 1,200 calories and your best friend is eating 1,800 calories, okay? You both need to end your reverse diet at 2,400 calories, okay? Just for the sake of this example. This is all for the sake of the example. This is not actually you, just an example here. The reverse diet for the person who's eating 1,200 calories compared to the person who is eating 1,800 calories will, when looking at solely the math, will have a longer timeline because your metabolism, the person eating 1,200 calories, that metabolism needs a little bit of extra love. And please, please, please do not let this stress you out. This is way more common than you realize. The stats are changing, but there is, I don't want to say this, so please don't quote me on this, but I think there's somewhere above 50% of women in the world or the US, please don't quote me on this. There are a lot of people out there who are dieting. The main point here. There are a lot of people out in the world who are dieting. You are not alone. I know it's scary. I know it can be overwhelming to say, oh my gosh, that is 1,200 more calories that I need to eat. I personally reverse dieted from around 900 calories. I am now eating well over 2,000 calories. I am thriving. I have a very happy metabolism. I don't want you to feel alone. I know it's scary. I know it can be intimidating. You are so worthy and capable. Let this light a fire in you and push you to get started now so you don't look back a year from now and say, I wish I started then, right? That is the worst when we're looking back and we're like, I just wish I started, okay? So looking at this solely at the math, and it's about to get, the non-mathy things are almost like more important, if you will, and we're going to go through the three of those. But when we're looking solely at the math of where your metabolism currently sits, comparing it to where it needs to be, it's going to be so different for everybody because your metabolism is going to be different from Mary Jane over there, okay? And Sammy, I don't know why I'm trying to do double names. I always do this. I always do double names, and I'm like, why? But Samantha over here, right, may be eating 2,000 calories and needs a reverse diet. We've got, Tiffany over here, which actually have a client named Tiffany, who is eating 1,500 calories, and then maybe you're eating 1,200 calories. Try not to look at other people's timelines because their life, their journey, everything is so incredibly different than yours, and that's what makes you so special. And also, these next 3 points could very likely be a make or break for you that you have and they do not, okay? So 3 here is the consistency of the reverse diet, which sounds extremely basic, but it's really, really not. So let's use an example. Let's just say these are 2 friends, okay? So one friend, I think I've switched it here. So let's say friend number 1 is eating the 1,800 calories and friend number 2 is eating the 1,200 calories. The end goal for both of them is the 2,400 calories. This means friend 1, who is eating 1,800 calories and needs to get to 2,400, that is a 600 calorie difference. So she's got 600 calories to reverse diet. Friend number 2, she's eating 1,200 calories. She needs to get to 2,400 calories. That is a 1,200 calorie difference. Okay, so looking solely at the math, friend number 2 eating 1,200 calories has a longer reverse diet. And that's solely based off of math, okay? So when we're looking at the consistency, life is going to happen. I think so often people look at their reverse diet, people look at life, people say, I'm going to wait until blank. I'm going to wait until I'm not busy, which I honestly, I cannot tell you enough. You should start when you are the most busy. And I actually did a podcast on this as well. Let me do a quick peek at it really quick here. Okay, so my live episodes, I believe it was 2 episodes ago. Of course, my database is not loading. Here we go. It was episode 102, Sustainable Fat Loss for Busy Women. And this one, I had some absolutely freaking incredible tips. I'm a very, very busy person. I don't have time. I mean, I'm very, very busy. I could easily say I don't have time to do this or that. And also, you really should start when you are the most busy, because there's going to be a time in your life where you are less busy, and that will make it easier for you when you go into those phases. And also, when you're busy, you want to know how to navigate those situations with ease. And also, if you go into it and quote unquote start when you are not busy, it is very, very likely that you will get busy after that point pretty gosh darn quickly. And then you're going to go into this, oh my gosh, panic mode, because you don't know how to navigate these situations when life is busy. Okay. Little sidetrack there for you. But life is going to happen. And I think it's really important to go into your reverse diet with, yes, seeing that roadmap based on solely the math of where your metabolism sits and where it needs to be, and also knowing that life can happen, okay? This is why one of the reasons I love coaching, because life is going to happen. And instead of it causing you to completely spiral out of control and to go into a panic and to completely lose all consistency that you had, making you go back to the beginning, right? It's like you're playing, what is it? Is it Monopoly? I'm not like the biggest Monopoly fan. I don't know why. I like Clue, but what is it? I don't think it's Monopoly. Whatever the board game is where you go back to start. You know what? Is it Trouble? I can't think of the game. Whatever the one is, it's like you have to go back to start. That's what's going to happen when you're trying to start when the world is perfect. You're trying to dream of this like perfect world. You have to go into these game plans with the reality of, hey, you're human. Life's going to happen. You're going to want to travel. There are going to be dinners to go to. You might be going through the holidays. And when working with my clients, instead of you spiraling, what's really amazing is we can create a game plan that fits naturally into your life, and we can adjust it as needed. So if you get sick, one of my BPM clients actually just had surgery last week, I think it was, or what is today? Tuesday. As I'm recording, it's Tuesday. So yes, it was last week. I had another client who has COVID. I had another client who got the flu. I have another client whose kids got home from school for the week. I mean, there's so many different things that can go different than what you planned. And if there is something that's outside of your normal routine that has been hacked by life and you don't know how to go about it, you're going to lose complete consistency, and it's going to make you completely spiral unless you have a game plan, okay? And when it comes to consistency, it's consistency in being able to actually follow through, but it's also consistency with actually hitting your macros. And I think there is a whole world out there of macro trackers who are completely obsessive to the point where it's not necessarily the most healthy mentally. And from somebody who has been in that space in the past, I prepped for a bikini competition, did not follow through because I was in a really bad space mentally. I was terrified of eating certain foods. I had this good food, bad food mentality. And I was taking macros to a different level of obsession and extreme that was not healthy, and it was not sustainable. And I could look back and I could say, wow, I wish that never happened, but I'm so glad. I mean, I would never wish it upon anyone. But I'm so glad it did happen because it allowed me to learn from my mistakes. Failures we are meant to fail so we can learn and so we can grow. And I learned that I did not want to be obsessive with macros, but I also was aware that I needed to be consistent with actually hitting my macro goals in order to actually progress forward. So many people, when they are reverse dieting, they go through the process, and I've had so many people come to me, which is why I'm so big about making sure you can eat out, you can travel, you can do all the real world things while still seeing results, because this allows you to have that consistency of actually hitting your macros. I have so many people who will DM me who have been, different coach, different world, whatever they may be doing, and they're not consistently hitting their macros. They're just adjusting their macros really willy-nilly in their reverse diet, and they're like, I've just gained 50 pounds. And I'm like, we need to take a step back here. We have to make sure we're hitting these factors and going through this properly. And it doesn't have to be restrictive, right? It doesn't have to be obsessive. It gets to be fun. It gets to be easy. It gets to fit naturally into your life, but you get to also step up to the plate and invest in yourself to help you get there, okay? Hey, beautiful peach. Is your slow metabolism causing your fat loss plateau? Do you want your own custom metabolism health report so you can ditch the, do I actually have a slow metabolism guessing game? I got you. I have been working hard on a totally free, 100% free metabolism health calculator and mini course That is for women who are ready to end that fat loss guessing game and actually lose weight without cutting a single food they love. This free metabolism report isn't just information. It's a mini course loaded with actionable steps and science-backed knowledge to help you pinpoint the exact number of where your metabolism sits, the exact calorie goal of where your metabolism needs to be, and if you need a reverse diet or if you can just jump right into the calorie deficit. Take your life back from the diet industry with this customizable template that calculates your individual metabolic health data, revealing the exact health score of your metabolism. You can grab this totally free course by going to my website, www.cschmidt.fit/metabolism report. You can also grab it directly from the show notes. And last but not least, if you're on Instagram, you can go ahead and send me the DM metabolism report and I can send you the link directly. I truly am so gosh darn excited about this metabolism report and mini course, and I cannot wait for you to nerd out with me. So please go grab it and enjoy the rest of the episode. So I want you to really make sure, and I have another example here looking at our friend one and friend two when looking at consistency. So we want to have the consistency of not necessarily consistency of having a routine life where life doesn't happen, but the consistency of us being able to know how to navigate situations when life is happening, because it will always happen. You can tell yourself all day long, you're going to not eat out, you're not going to travel, you're not this or that, but that's putting yourself in a diet box. You want to travel, you want to eat out. We're going to be doing those things so you get to learn to navigate those situations while consistently hitting your macros. Essentially, if our body doesn't, and our metabolism doesn't actually understand what we're doing, it cannot adapt to those numbers. So when we go to do those macro increases during our reverse diet, it won't actually know what you're doing. And let me give you an example on this. This is a really good example, okay? This is one that I actually use with my BPM clients. And so let's say that we are friend number one, who I believe is eating 1,800 calories. And let's say, for the sake of the example, this is going to be very made up numbers. I actually don't know if this adds up to 1,800 calories, but we're just going to go with the flow here. Let's say we've got this person who's eating 100 protein, 100 carbs, and 100 fat. Reminder, completely made up numbers. These are not at all accurate for anything, okay? Just for the sake of the example. So 100, 100, and 100. If this person on a 7 days, so Monday through Sunday, let's say that on Monday, she eats 50 protein, 400 carbs, and 30 fat. She's really far off on her macros, right? Tuesday, she eats 100, 100, 100. She hits those on the dot. Wednesday, she eats 60 protein, 60 carbs, 150 fat, right? So one of the days she's really been consistent. The other two, she has not. And that goes on for the rest of the week. Her metabolism and her body's going to have absolutely no idea what she is doing because there is no consistency. There is no pattern of her hitting her macros, okay? Now let's take friend number two, who is eating 1,200 calories. And she is, let's say that her macros are also, for the sake of the example, let's just say they are, we'll just use the same example because it's easy. 100, 100, 100. Obviously, two different people, they will not have the same macros. But for the sake of the ease of the example, also 100, 100, and 100, okay? Monday, she's at 103 protein, 100 carbs, 99 fat. She's right in that range of hitting her macro goals. And she sticks with that the entire week outside of her free meal. Her body says, I know exactly what she's doing. Due to the scientific term called metabolic adaptation, this is the way that our body actually works. We are using that to our advantage by having consistency with our macros. And we are telling our body, we are literally telling our body exactly what needs to be done. It adapts to that number. You can do your next macro adjustment in your reverse diet and you will be golden. So if friend number one, who's not hitting her macros, tries to increase, it will not go well for her. Friend number two, who is hitting her macros, that's what we want. So for the sake of this example, let's just say that friend number one is like, I'm too busy. I'm just going to put this off. I'm not going to start now. She thinks she doesn't have time. She honestly doesn't understand how easy it's going to be. I think for so many people, the anticipatory anxiety is what holds you back. I've had people who, and I'm the queen of it. I am the queen of it. I've gotten a lot better with actually making the decisions. And I think one of the biggest life lessons that I've learned, this goes with macros, but it also goes to any decision in your life, is you want to do what's going to help you execute the plan the quickest. So if you're going to sit there and you're going to be stressed out about reverse dieting and you're like, I don't even know what to do, I don't know where to start, well, just start by tracking your macros. Execute something. You need to start somewhere, because the more you're going to sit in that anticipatory anxiety of the what if this happens, what if that happens, what if, it's going to leave you stuck exactly where you are. So you're going to look back a year from now and you're going to say, well, shoot, I've literally been sitting in this, anticipating all of that can happen rather than just taking action. And when you're not taking action, when you're not committing, when you're not executing the plan, you're actually teaching yourself not to trust yourself. And you're wasting time, you're wasting energy. And when you finally commit, you're going to be so tired and you haven't even done anything yet. So just commit, okay? We get so exhausted from trying to commit that we are burnt out by the time we start. So just commit. So coming back to our friend 1 and friend 2 here, essentially friend 1 was not able to commit, or she just wasn't hitting her macros. Friend number 2 eating 1,200 calories, she's hitting her macros, she's committing, she's going forward. If you are looking at them and you're looking 6 months later, friend number 1 is going to be in the exact same place because she was unable to commit or she was unable to actually hit her macros. Friend number 2, who was eating 1,200 calories, she committed. She got her macros. She's learning how to eat out. She's learning how to travel. She's learning how to do all the real world things and hit her macros. She's actually healed her relationship with food. She's enjoying life without stress. She's realizing how easy it is when she has a game plan. And after 6 months, she's already eating up to 1,800 calories. She's already eating, 600 calorie difference. She's already reverse dieted 600 calories. She is good to go. After another 6 months, friend number 1, who was eating 1,800 calories, she's done keto for 3rd time in a row. She's still not seeing changes. She's seeing weight regain. Friend number 2, who was eating 1,200 calories at the very beginning, has now hit her end goal for her reverse diet. She's eating 2,400 calories. She's done with her reverse diet. She's thriving. She checked it off, right? She spent that year healing. And so I think the moral of the story here is, yes, if we're looking at the math, it would have taken friend number, I'm forgetting which friend is which. The 1,200 initial start place friend would have had a longer reverse diet. But because she took action, because she was like, hey, I'm going to execute this plan. I'm going to make this happen. I'm going to be consistent with hitting my macros. I'm going to learn how to eat out, to track, to do all those real world things. Her reverse diet actually ended up going faster because she was able to commit. Okay. Now I know it's hard to look at those factors because it's not the math. It's not the where your metabolism sits versus where it needs to be, but it's so absolutely incredibly important because it's the real world. And so many people just sit in the fear for so long that if they had actually just taken action, they would have been where they wanted to be and they would be that person that they're proud of. And I don't want you to feel stressed and be looking back at yourself and be like, oh gosh, I wish I started. I wish I did this. I wish I did that. Use that as a lesson for yourself to put the ego to the side, to have that self-awareness and to just start, okay? So we're going to go through 4 and 5, and then I'm actually going to map out for you how you can kind of put a timeline to it, okay? So giving you, so you can actually say like, I need X number of months to complete my reverse diet, okay? So number 4, how you are monitoring your progress. This one's also actually pretty simple on the base level, but it's extremely important and so overlooked. So when we're monitoring our progress, we want to make sure that we're doing proper macro adjustments. And this comes from making sure that we're not just adjusting our calories by 100 to, 50 to 100 calories. That's not going to lead you in the right direction. You really want to make sure that you are monitoring your progress on a weekly basis. And this is one of the big things where there are so many different variables. That's why in Beautiful Peach Mastermind, it's so nice because we have weekly check-ins and I'm teaching you how to adjust macros. I'm teaching you how to do all of these things, but it's also, you have the support system and the kind of the affirmation of saying like, hey, here's what your macros should be for this week. And you're learning how to do that. So for a lot of people who don't have the community, the support, the whatever it may be, they kind of willy-nilly go through the process of a reverse diet without actually monitoring their progress properly. And what happens, and I have this happen to, or not happen to me, but people reaching out to me, having it happen to them, is they will have to start over again and again and again because they are not following through the steps of, number one, figuring out exactly where your metabolism sits in the proper macros. Number two, figuring out exactly where your metabolism needs to be, bump that up a little bit and make sure you have that point there. Number three, consistently hitting your macros. And this means learning how to track your macros when eating out, when traveling, when doing the real world things. It does not have to be hard. It gets to be easy. You just need to learn how to do it. And then number four, actually monitoring your progress properly. Okay. And this goes into number five as well. You have to know your individual factors and your biofeedback. So there are different variables that go on with our body on a week-to-week basis. And I think for some people too, I've had people reach out, and there's so many wild like YouTube videos or just random resources out there that are like, adjust by 50 calories or do this la-di-da. And it's like, no, there's a very precise procedure for going through that reverse diet if you want to do it properly. And so I'll have people who come to me and say, hey, I gained a pound overnight, so I went back to eating blank number of calories, whatever it may be. And I start willy-nilly adjusting and what I call panic adjusting their macros. And it's going to put you back, and it's going to put you back again and again and again. So you really want to make sure you're paying attention to your biofeedback and properly making sure that you are adjusting your macros based on that biofeedback, which is why in my reverse diet, in my reverse diet course that my BPM clients get, there's a reverse diet biofeedback checklist. So you can literally go through that every single week. And also you get my reverse diet roadmap, so you know exactly what macros to adjust and when. And that's what's so incredibly important. It takes the guessing game out of it, and then it leaves you with just making sure you're getting that consistency, making sure that you're following through, doing all of the mindset work, because the mindset work is it's not equal or harder. It's hard to get through that mindset work, but when you have the support system, it's a game changer, okay? You don't just want to power through the reverse diet. You want to go slow and steady, okay? So pulling all of this together, and disclaimer again, because every single human is going to be so incredibly different. Every body, every metabolism, every lifestyle, okay? So incredibly different, but if you follow those 5 variables and then the 6 extra one I'm going to give you, you'll be golden, okay? So number 1, a starting point of your reverse diet is correct and calculated correctly. Number 2, where your metabolism needs to be at that point. Number 3, you're consistently hitting your macros. You have consistency. Number 4, you're monitoring your progress properly. And number 5, you have your individual biofeedback and you're following that. If you're following those 5 steps and you're basically checking every single one off and every single week, you're like, we're good to go, you will be golden, okay? Now, if we are looking at those 5 variables and in a perfect world, we're just going to pretend we're living in this perfect world, okay? And we can actually kind of zone it back and just say we're looking at just the math. Let's go in that way. So we're looking at just the math and in a perfect world, okay? We can estimate, and I want you to really, I want to remind you, this is just an estimate, okay? We can estimate 9 weeks for 500 calories increased. And please, please, please remember, every human in the entire world is different. There are no same timelines. I have this in big, bold letters and italicized. Please do not take 500 calories and divide by 9 and start to try and increase your calories that way. It does not work that way, okay? We adjust our macros, our protein, our carbs, and our fat separately. And also, this is an estimate. So I don't want you to panic and be like, wait, but let me just do this. Let me do some math here. Let me try and figure this out. I really, I don't want you to take this and run with it in the wrong direction, okay? But this can give you a good idea. So for the sake of a tangible number, if we're taking where our metabolism sits, let's say, for example, let's just say 1,500 calories because that's easy. Let's say you're starting at 1,500 calories. You want to be at 2,500 calories for the sake of this example and for the sake of helping you get some sort of generalized tangible number. This means it will take you 18 weeks, which is about 4.5 months, to complete a reverse diet in a perfect world where you're able to get a macro adjustment every week, where life is just smooth sailing, okay? Now, here's one thing, because I have a metabolism report to help you figure out exactly where your metabolism sits and where it needs to be so you can really, really, really map this out. It's completely free. And let me actually pull up my notes so I can read to you everything that is in it, because I have been working on this for a very long time, completely free, because I think it's one of the top questions that so many people have. And I want you to have that answer so you can actually get started, okay? So if you want your true metabolism health report, you can grab my metabolism report 100% free. It's down in the show notes. And you can also send me a DM on Instagram and just say metabolism report, and I will send you the link to grab it. It will help you figure out, number one, where your metabolism sits. Accurately pinpoint where your metabolism sits so you can see that metabolism health report, okay? Number two, where your metabolism needs to be. Your overall metabolism health score. So do you have a kick butt metabolism? How much love does your metabolism need? You will get an overall score. Think of like red, yellow, green, right? You'll get a score there. It will help you determine if you need a reverse diet. It will literally help you determine if you need a reverse diet or if you can go into a calorie deficit. So it will tell you exactly, do you need a reverse diet? Do you need a calorie deficit? And then it also comes with, because I am way over the top and I have loaded this sucker up with so many different things, it comes with a plug and play download. Let me actually read this directly off there so I don't make sure I don't forget anything. It comes with a plug and play download and a video it's so good. You have a couple of video trainings in here. A plug and play download with a video training that actually goes with the report so you can make sure you're calculating everything 100,000% accurately, which is really cool. I'm all about accuracy and I'm all about making sure everything's customized. I simply don't believe in cookie cutter. It's not going to work. It's not a good thing. So I want to make sure everything is customized to you. So you've got the whole entire video training walking you through that. And then also there's additional bonus training all about reverse dieting and giving you a little bit more of insight behind what the heck a reverse diet is if you do need to do a reverse diet. So this is my metabolism report. Comes a little course set up. It is so incredibly amazing. It will take you a couple days probably to get through it, but you will be able to pinpoint exactly where your metabolism sits, your metabolism health score, red, yellow, green, where your metabolism needs to be. Okay, so starting point of your reverse diet, ending point of your reverse diet, and then if you need a reverse diet or if you are eligible for a calorie deficit. And I do want to give you a mama bear moment here. If you did not get to where you wanted, pretty much you didn't get to where you wanted to be overnight. You won't get to where you want to be overnight. And it might be the result of 10 years of dieting. 10 months of reverse dieting is nothing compared to 10 years of dieting, okay? Would you rather spend 10 months healing or 10 months stuck exactly where you are and then realize in 10 months that you need to change and have to backtrack and change, right? The only time wasted is the time we don't take action. That's the only time that is wasted, okay? So, and if you don't believe me, I literally have written here, if you don't believe me, go to the episode 86, should you reverse diet even if you have 50 plus pounds to lose? My love bug, my beautiful peach, do it. It is so gosh darn worth it. So gosh darn worth it. And last but not least here, just a reminder, Beautiful Peach Mastermind is officially open for enrollment for this next round as of today. It has actually been closed for a little while. Sells out so fast. People will hop in so incredibly quickly. The Beautiful Peach Mastermind is my high-level group coaching program for women who want to heal their metabolism from diet burnout so you can finally lose the weight and keep it off for good without sacrificing the food that you love, without sacrificing the time with your friends and family, and to really, so you don't have to sacrifice your quality of life. You get to wake up happy every day. You get to wake up in a body that you love, and you get to have a community of women who are going through it with you. In BPM, you get weekly check-ins, so you have the accountability of knowing that you will not be gaining that weight back because you have the check-ins, you have the affirmation, you've got the expertise backing you. You also get Slack accountability, where I am in there quite literally all the freaking time. And also you are getting my bonus. So you get bonus courses here. You get a mastermind welcome package as soon as you enroll, which includes spreadsheets that you will send over to me so I can verify your macros. I can verify your metabolism health. I can verify all of that and get you started right away. And then because BPM is the creme de la creme of my coaching, you get bonus access to, okay, are you ready for this? The C-Schmidt macro calculator, because we need to have that solid foundation, right? We need to have that solid foundation. I will review all of this. You get bonus access to my reverse diet course, which itself includes the reverse diet roadmap, which is exactly helping you pinpoint exactly what macros to adjust, okay? And literally taking where your metabolism sits at starting point, where you need to go, and week by week tells you exactly how many macros to adjust to make sure you're having a successful reverse diet. You also get my reverse diet biofeedback checklist. So this is the exact checklist that I personally use for all of my clients, as well as my own self, when adjusting macros to make sure that your metabolism is 110% ready for the adjustment so you don't gain the weight back when you shouldn't be. You also get bonus access to my C-Schmidt macro alcohol tracker. This is another plug and play. Me and my plug and plays, I like to make your life really, really, really easy. So you basically plug in the calories of the alcohol that you are drinking, and it will pop out exactly how to track that in just carbs, in just fat, or a variety. So how to track those. And last but not least, this is like wild that I have this in here. You get access to my Macro and Nutrition Academy. BPM is the only place that you can get to this. This is the highest level course that I have, where not only are you getting everything in the reverse diet course, you are learning exactly how to do calorie deficits. You are learning exactly how to do lean bulks if you would like. You are learning how to transition between every single one of those phases, when and when not to transition between them, and also how to go intuitive down the road. Not only that, there is a lot of mental work going into this and really making sure that you are going into this next chapter of your life, okay? So, with all that was a mouthful. I did not actually expect that to be so long. If you would like BPM, that is down below in the show notes. I really encourage you to apply as soon as you possibly can, because spots go so wildly fast. And also, if you have questions, please come ask me on Instagram. It's CSCHMIDT.FIT. That is my Instagram. Come send me a DM. You can ask me for the BPM sneak peek. Just say you came from my podcast. You heard BPM is open. Can you have the sneak peek? And then I can send you that over, as well as if you would like the application, I can send you that as well. Or you can just stop down below in the show notes. So I really, really encourage you guys to go through this. And if you're at the very basics, you're like, I think I want BPM, but I'm not sure. Do I need a reverse diet? I don't know. Please go grab your metabolism report. Its value is very high. Its value is like extremely, extremely high. It's free. It is hundreds of dollars worth of information, all for free. Please go grab it. Please go grab it. I beg you to grab it and go learn that information. So without further ado, I don't know why I said that way. This was a very long episode, but a very, very necessary episode. I am so excited for you. And if you have any other topics that you want me to talk about, please send me a note on Instagram and say, hey, would love to hear about this. And I will have your back and add it into my podcast, my future episodes. So I don't know why I keep saying without further ado. I don't know why that keeps coming out of my mouth. But without holding you any longer here, I adore you all to pieces. You are absolutely wonderful. So all the love and peaches your way, and we'll see you in the next episode. Bye, my beautiful peach.